You hand out forgiveness to others like candy, but starve yourself of basic compassion. Your cruelty is reserved for one. Carl Jung called this your shadow, the self you keep pretending isn't yours. It festers quietly, the part of you you won't admit is real. You notice it every time you judge someone else harshly. That secret sharpness always pointed inward first. In Modern Man in Search of a Soul, he puts it clearly, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. If you don't face this shadow, it runs the show without your consent. You think you're avoiding pain, but you're only multiplying it, isolating the parts of yourself that most need understanding. Each dismissal hardens into habit until one day, self-condemnation is the water you swim in. The voice in your head doesn't just critique, it dissects. It keeps a list of sins, long and detailed. When others struggle, you nod and forgive. When you falter, you relive every mistake like a ritual. See the trap yet? The harsher you become with yourself, the more impossible it is to connect with anyone authentically. Compassion shrivels. Pretending your darkness isn't there doesn't erase it, it just infects everything unspoken. In every relationship, the consequences play out. A friend confides in you, their flaws on display. You try to empathize, but a sour taste sneaks in. Inside, judgment flares up again, built on all the ways you still haven't forgiven yourself. Watch how easy it is to slip. You project your own hidden shame onto their confession. Now the cycle turns. The development of personality drills straight through your blind spot. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But most people flee that privilege. They forfeit the chance to recognize themselves whole. Fear mixes with shame, hardening into certainty that self-acceptance would mean surrender. How much energy vanishes just holding the mask in place? What could you do if even a fraction of it were free? This is where most give up, at the thought that facing their shadow would mean letting it consume everything. You don't need to look away yet. Don't mistake denial for strength. The real risk isn't acknowledgement, it's what you lose from endless avoidance. Ready for the uncomfortable part? If you don't rescue the parts of yourself you've banished, you never break the cycle. That pain you hide, someone else pays for it eventually. This thinker's warning isn't soft comfort, it's a demand. Look at what you've hidden, or be ruled by it. The edge gets sharper here. You want your shame to stay silent, but it leaks out in every gesture. Even your kindness grows infected, clipped, brittle, just generous enough to look convincing. When a loved one stumbles and you try to offer comfort, something rigid creeps into the warmth. You hear your own voice in theirs begging for acceptance, and yet you shrink away from the intimacy of their pain. You try compassion, but deep down you smuggle in judgment. The double standard is absolute. Every flaw in you demands punishment, while theirs deserves forgiveness, until you catch yourself doing neither fully. Sometimes your mercy for others is just resentment redirected. Sometimes the angry thought isn't about them at all. Maybe you can feel it burning even now. Here's what nobody else can see: the silent rules you've written for everyone, traced in the ink of your private failures. How cruel you become when you imagine yourself in their place. Attention check. Who are you hardest on, really? Your story loops in secret, but the consequences are visible. Every time you withhold compassion from yourself, you limit how safe anyone can feel near you. You carry the cost quietly. You think this is self-discipline, but it's not. It's a slow, invisible sabotage of connection. The guilt compounds, and gradually, self-hatred feels familiar enough to pass for honesty. Real acceptance grows more alien by the day. This is the moment most people look away and call it strength or even humility. Don't let yourself off the hook so easily. In memories, dreams, reflections, his warning crystallizes everything. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. The memorable line, "Your capacity to love others never outgrows your willingness to make peace with your own rejected self." But how do you actually break the double standard? What does that process demand from you step by step? It demands that you stare down the ugliest story you've ever told about yourself. Not just acknowledge it, but accept even the parts that make you flinch. In Modern Man in Search of a Soul, he strips the process bare. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. That sentence is a hammer blow, not a comfort. Most people never get close. They invent rules that let them show grace to others, but sabotage their own happiness with self-cruelty. It feels safer to maintain separation. This is who I am privately. That is the face I'll show. But as long as your self-kindness remains conditional, everyone else can sense where your acceptance ends. You become unable to trust the warmth you give or receive. It's all rationed, all provisional. The old stories of failure choke every new connection you try to form. Nothing gets through. This dynamic plays out everywhere. A parent who disciplines themselves relentlessly, but erupts over small mistakes in their child. An employee celebrated for patience with colleagues, yet haunted by insomnia over their own errors. Real-world cruelty always starts at home, in the quiet of self-judgment. The more you chase perfection as penance, the less you believe you deserve simple kindness from yourself or anyone. Here's the hard edge you may not want to see. You can't outwork self-hatred. That armor only gets heavier. Every philosophy of radical acceptance is a battle against that inner double standard. If you imagine self-compassion as weakness, you're learning to hollow yourself out in plain sight. Try this. Notice how much energy you spend performing normalcy, hiding anxiety or shame from even your closest people. That's the toll. You're not protecting yourself from pain, you're multiplying it and feeding it to those around you. If you've ever wondered why intimacy feels so distant, start here. Stop burning yourself as proof of virtue. In Memories, Dreams, Reflections, this thinker's response is a stake in the ground. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. The path out isn't immaculate self-improvement or perfection. It's refusing to define yourself by the moments you regret. This shift changes everything you touch. You lose the safety of familiar self-blame, but gain new ground, the possibility that kindness starts inward and radiates outward, not the reverse. The people closest to you feel it first. Low-level resentment evaporates, making space for trust. The double standard starts to dissolve, replaced with a new kind of honesty, a disciplined, stubborn care that doesn't stop at the self. Suddenly, forgiveness at home becomes a force that redraws the rules, not just for you, but for everyone you invite inside. You hand out forgiveness to others like candy, but starve yourself of basic compassion. Kindness must start from within. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and comment below. What is the first step you're taking toward self-compassion?